Hello and welcome to Electrichobbies. This video here is part of a new series, one of 3, in which this one is dedicated to all things video gaming, called SavePoint. Sit back, press that like button, and please consider subscribing if you're new, because I will be giving my early impressions of Age of Darkness Final Stand on Steam.
Electric.
The Steam review of this early access game reads very positive at the time of this impressions video. I had to give it a go. It looks really interesting. Think of this game as a RTS castle defense. First, we are presented with a title screen previewing in the form of art, which we get to see in its glorious detail, giving us a preview of what's to come. At this time, you can only select survival mode, with campaign mode to be released later in the roadmap. You can load your save games, adjust your settings, and see any news updates from the developers. The menu is simple and easy to work with. So when you start your game, you get to select your difficulty mode, and my advice for someone who is not into RTS or castle defense games is just to start this game on easy. A nice touch here is being able to customize your difficulties. You can enable hardships which work against your game, but you gain more score multipliers. Pretty much this is a risk versus reward system.
I bring an end to the dark.
You choose one hero at start, with more heroes due to arrive later down the development cycle. But right now we get to play as Edwin, who is able to gain his special abilities the more you fight enemies. These are not unlocked for you right away. Now, I'm just dreaming here when I say this, but what would be really nice is being able to create your own hero with their own special abilities and be able to choose them according to your liking and your play style instead of choosing a pre-made hero. That's just my opinion. We will have to see what happens. Then, at the start of the game, you are given a warning. This is no easy game. You will fail. Do your best to survive against the nightmares, they say. Well, as you start, the game doesn't tell you how to play. You have to find how to play in the tutorials within the menu. And there are just a few hints and tips on how to do certain things in the game. A lot of it you have to find out on your own.
We stand in defiance.
The gameplay, as they say, is very difficult. Even on easy mode, I felt the difficulty ramping up with each Death Knight approaching. The Death Knight comes after a set number of days in which you have a short to reasonable amount of time to build resource gathering zones, build up and gain experience for the military forces, build and repair and upgrade defenses and base buildings, researching new technologies and exploring and take on territorial control over the map. You fight monster groups that periodically come to test you from every direction before the actual Death Knight event happens. On every Death Knight, monsters come at you in larger numbers. Each Death Knight tests out your defenses, and the day of the Death Knight, you see a glowing red crystal on your minimap signifying what direction the enemy is coming from, but it doesn't show you what path the enemy will take to get to you. This is covered by a green fog. Not knowing which side of your defense will be breached first in the general direction the wave comes from adds another layer of dread and combat defense readiness, which I really do like. Another thing that adds a layer of challenge is if your hero dies in battle and you don't have a big army to finish fighting off the horde, the chances of losing the game increases. Once your hero goes down, you do have the ability to revive him with red crystals. But if you don't have that available and you don't have a lot of units at your disposal, well, you guessed it. You get to load up your save game and try again. The ability to load from a save game, especially on easy mode, is very welcomed here, and it allowed me to quickly think of a different strategy to make it through the Death Knight that I failed on. And what adds a layer of challenge is playing these games on the higher difficulties with limited saves. There are also elite monsters which you can summon during the nights, and I have not been able to defeat one just quite yet, as you see here, but I believe you gain red crystals this way as well. Throughout the world there are also areas to capture while exploring called points of interest, which when all enemies are defeated in the area, you claim the resources in the contested zone. Think of this as treasure zones found in other RTS games.
Forward.
Graphically, this game is looking really good, especially being able to zoom in really close in and see the fine details and see the lighting. A welcome addition is the support for ultra-wide 21:9 monitors, but I feel there may be an issue with the amount of zoom out the game will allow you in ultra-wide. As you see here, I was able to use Unreal Unlocker to provide a little bit of programming to increase the zoom out with an FOV fix. Now the sound and the music in this game is actually not that bad. It's appropriate to the genre, and music never gets annoying or repetitive during the hours of base building and exploration. It only queues up for the big moments, such as the Death Knights. That's when the cinematic orchestrations begins to pick up. Key bindings for this game seem adequate and helpful for most use case scenarios for this RTS game, since you will be juggling a lot with unit groups, sub-menus for building when needed to use on the fly. So what do I think about Age of Darkness Last Stand? I like it. The overall package feels fairly decent and polished in early access. I'm looking forward to what else is going to be available later down the line. The game is $21.99 at the time of this review, and already I feel it is fair for what you get. The ultra-wide support here is welcomed, but it could use a little bit more native optimizations and configuration to achieve the desired field of view. The heroes don't feel overpowered, at least from what I can see, and they do succumb to their wounds early on in the game. The entire gameplay loop is very addicting here, especially when supporting your hero with gaining experience with time on the battlefield with a growing army behind him, and upgrading your base of operations from the nightmare hordes from all possible directions. Performance-wise, I haven't experienced any frame losses or glitches or bugs or crashes. This thing boots up really fast on my system. It's really nice. As I said earlier, it would be nice to create your own hero, maybe add some different abilities or add some role-playing game stats just to make your hero your own instead of having a prefab. Lastly, this game does not support any multiplayer or co-op at this time, but it would be interesting to see some of that. Maybe have some kind of PvP map domination or something. Well guys, I give Age of Darkness a solid go, and it's a worthy addition to your Steam library. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you press like, subscribe, and the bell notification to be notified of future content. What do you think of Age of Darkness? Is this game for you? Is this something you would play or pass on? Maybe you already own it. What do you think about the game? Do you agree or disagree with any of the comments made in this video? I would like to know. As always, thank you very much.
I am watching you, human. Press a video. Now.